So let's look at some of these common attacks, which are not so that common. But then if they happen together, then cyber disaster is bound to happen within the organization as such. So first is a malware, which we have discussed many number of times. Uh, then there's a phishing attack, where hackers again steal sensitive information. Then the man in the middle attack. Now, the man in the middle attack is also a network security attack, where the network intruder is not a active. It's not an active attack because it is not being launched by the employee of your organization or the employee of any organization which is being attacked as a part of cyber disaster. It is usually done as a part of passive attack somewhere, some by somebody who is outside your organization. He captures the packet which is flowing on the network. For example, when we use the Wireshark software, we saw many number of packets which are flowing onto the network. And now if I'm a hacker or intruder, I will launch the attack and I will capture the data and I will modify the information on the data. Then we go to zero-day exploits, where hacker finds new security vulnerability in software regularly. They keep on doing it. They keep on checking the vulnerability of any, like, if I'm a software hacker, I will keep on scanning the social media platform like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I will keep on checking what are the vulnerabilities in it. And there's a scheme called bug bounty scheme. And moment I detect any of the vulnerabilities in it, immediately I will approach the organization. I will say, okay, these are the exploits. These are the vulnerabilities which I found in your product. And I may charge money from that particular organization. Then is a denial of service attack or distributed denial of service attack, where I bombard the server and I deny the delivery of actual service by the server to its client. That is what we call the denial of service attack. It is something like a congestion is being created on the network, and the legitimate users are also being denied the web services. Illegitimate users, I bombard the network with so many number of illegitimate requests because I want to disturb the integrity of the network. I'm a hacker. My intention is to destroy the integrity of the network, and I don't want the actual services to be delivered from the by the telecom service provider or by the internet service provider to its client. Other is a very well-known attack, what we call password attack. For example, if I know about somebody, let's say his name, his father's name, his spouse name, his kid's name, the place where he resides, the place where he works, his phone number and email ID, then what I can do, I can design a program with all this information. And normally we see in 8 out of 10 cases, the person always creates a password using any of these 8 set of information. Either you will use his own name or the name of his spouse or the name of his pet or the name of his city or his date of birth or the registration number of his vehicle or his phone number or his email ID. So any permutation combination will be created by this. So if I'm trying to launch password oriented attack, I know who my target is, and then accordingly I will write a program to detect the password of the person who is trying to use his email or his machine. Then some of the reasons for the increase in the cyber attack which we have seen happening over a last couple of years. First is the polarized world. Now we have seen that the world is divided into two parts. One is Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and the other is the rest of the world. So when you divide the world, or when the world get divided to multiple number of the parts, then these incidents are bound to happen. Each party will throw some kind of the attacks on the other party. And there are various regional forums which also get created. Like this, something there's what we call AUKUS, Australia, UK, US. They have created their own group, own community. And there are G7, G20. So many communities are there of the organization of the nations, and then they create one community and they left out people. Always try to launch the attack on this well-developed community. So polarized world is always a problem because there are so many number of the organization and the individuals and the companies and the countries which always keep on launching the attack on the other part of the world. Then increasing dependency on technology, which we think all of us are familiar. Technology is a enabler here, and technology is also threat here. Both the sides of the same coin. Then covert warfare means you hide your identity and launch the attack, a cyber attack within the network. You do not want yourself to be disclosed with who you are. You are hiding your identity and you are successful in doing it. because covertly you are planning or launch something called IP spoofing. I don't want to, I don't want that my name should come out. And some I'm hiding my own identity. I'm taking someone else's identity, and then I'm launching the attack onto the network. Then lack of robust law enforcement mechanism, because cyber laws, which we'll study in the next trimester, cyber laws vary from country to country, from origin to origin, from society to society, civilization to civilization. So we can't have a single uniform law that prevails in all the countries. So maybe if I'm based abroad, if I'm based in, let's say, in Russia or China, and I launch the attack in India, so if my Indian law enforcement is like Delhi police catches me up, but I am a Russian, so and I am the US, or I'm the US citizen, I will be bounded by the laws of that country, not by the laws of this country. So uniform lack of uniform civil laws, lack of the uniformity in cyber laws is one of another threat. Then you got a low digital literacy and digital gaps, because that varies from again country to country. Some countries are highly civilized, highly developed, highly technological advanced, and there are certain very poorly low income countries which are very technologically poor, that results in the occurrence of the cyber attack. The lack of the internal coordination among the various law enforcement agencies. Large number of enforcement agencies are there. Like we have got an international collaborative agency, for example, Interpol, where the police of multiple, the police or the cops of the various organizations of the various countries work together to catch the cyber criminals, or even the normal criminals for that matter. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't do. So when they don't do, we say the lack of international coordination, because sometimes they, most of the countries sign the MOU with each other that will share the criminals with each other, but some of the countries don't do it. So that again helps the attackers or the hackers to launch the cyber attacks, because they find the loopholes, and then they enjoy the loopholes that actually exist. Now, time now some of the important cyber attacks that happened over a period of time. Let's quickly go through it, which I think again we have discussed in the last class. One was 2003. No, that was the first cyber attack actually known. The 2003 US cyber attack, which happened around 20 years back in a power company, where entire city was shut down due to the power failures. Then in 2008, again, hackers disabled the alarms communication system of a crude oil company on the Turkish pipeline. Again, objective was to make sure that we are able to disturb the integrity of the data, we are able to disturb the integrity of the network, and then they will demand money for it. Then 2008, where US and Israel deployed the computer worms called the Stuxnet that destroy the Iranian centrifuges that are a key component of Iran nuclear program. So objective was to destroy the Iran's nuclear program. And still, see, 2008 and 2024, even after 16 years, things have remained same. Still now the US and Israel is on one side, on the Iran is on other side. Still they're fighting among themselves. 2009 is a Finland attack, which where electrical fire took place in the Fisher Plaza. Again, that was a deadly attack, which impacted several e-commerce websites. Then 2015 attack in US, where 221 million government employees' data got stolen out. Then 2017 UK ransom attack, which impacted not only India but also national health scheme of the UK. Then 2018 the Atlanta attack, where the transporters was hit badly, and almost they demanded $51,000 in cryptocurrency from the company to restore the cyber data. Now again, these are those cyber attacks which we have actually come to know, and all of them are deadliest attack. Means that is why we are sharing the screen here. Someone whose data has been impacted a lot, and the hackers have actually enjoyed huge millions of transaction of money by launching these attack on all these countries as well as the companies. So these are time of some of the very, otherwise if you look at the list of cyber attack happened in last 20 years, the list goes on 100 plus, which are known cyber attacks. There could be a very number of unknown cyber attack also. From that list of the 100 known cyber attack, these are the top 6 cyber attacks which actually deserves the name, that need to be discussed, and so then only the organization can take preventive strategy so that these attacks do not happen. Now there are two words here, cyber security versus the disaster recovery. Now both cyber security and disaster recovery system are designed to help the IT company recover from the consequences of a cyber attack or a data breach. Now attack is going to happen. So in spite of the best of the preventive measures you have taken, Now, what should be the recovery roadmap? How quickly we can recover from the loss of the data? So even though they overlap to a certain extent, both the terms, the cyber security and the disaster recovery, they have different purposes and designs. So let us see them. A disaster recovery plan aims to ensure business continuity following a cyber attack. So if the attack has struck, so how quickly I can recover back? Me means my organization with the minimum loss of the customer data. So that depends upon the disaster recovery plan that has been designed by the chief information security officer of my company. How quickly I'm able to recover back with the minimum loss of the customer data. Whereas on the other hand, cyber recovery provides data and asset protection and prevents confidential and potential data loss in the future. So you plan the strategy, you plan the attack that even if you're struck once, next time it should not happen. So primary objective is to provide data asset protection and prevent potential data loss in the future, because once you have been bugged, it should not happen for the next time. Now let's look for one of the important IBM note sheet that talks of the cyber security versus the disaster recovery operation. Now, if you look in these two terms, disaster recovery is a combination of IT technologies and the best practices to prevent data loss and minimize the disruption caused by an unexpected event. That is what we say the word disaster recovery, as per the IBM's definition of the term. And disaster recovery can refer to everything from equipment failure, like your failure of your routers, switches, gateways, hubs, the various networking and internet networking devices, or the power outages, or the cyber attacks, or the civil emergencies, the natural disaster, and criminal or the military attacks. They all fall into a category of the disaster recovery. Now, if you go for the cyber recovery is a process of increasing your organization's cyber resilience or ability to restore access to and the functionality of the critical item system and data in the event of cyber attack. So cyber recovery only talks of the cyber attack, which disaster recovery includes everything: the hardware failure, the software failure, the failure, the stolen data, everything it talks of the disaster recovery. So this is much more comprehensive, the disaster recovery, as compared to the cyber recovery, because disaster recovery is a superset, cyber recovery is a subset. So when you talk of the word disaster recovery, it automatically includes the cyber recovery also. Whereas if you only include the cyber recovery, it will only talk of the cyber attacks. It will not talk of the attack of the hardware equipments or the failure of devices or power outages. So disaster recovery is a broader term as compared to the cyber recovery. Now, what are the goals of the cyber security disaster recovery plan? If we design one, what should be our objective? First of all, the business continuity should remain live. That means 24 by 7 by 365. The organization should keep on delivering its services to its customer. For example, there could be cyber attack on Zomato website or on the Swiggy website. So they should be able to recover back quickly as far as possible, and they should plan the business continuity on immediate basis so that their operations don't get struck and without the loss of any customer data. So protection should be provided to a sensitive or financial or biometric data of the customer. So if I'm ordering certain food on a Swiggy app or a Zomato app, so my name, my credit card information, my Paytm wallet information, my mobile number, my email ID, they should never get leaked out. So I expect the organizations to ensure cryptographic security of my data by using, let's say, hashing technique, by using, let's say, steganography technique. But it means they should be able to provide the protection to my data. It should never get leaked out. Minimize the impact and losses, like they should adopt distributed computing concept, which I expect my service provider to do it so that I do not suffer any non business continuity. I should always be provided the best of the services by the e-commerce sites or by any of the service providers. Regular periodic backup of my data should take place. So if I got an email account, let's say we all have got Gmail account, a Hotmail account, Rediff mail account. So we expect our email service providers to make sure the regular periodic backup of the data should be done at the server level. No loss of the data should happen. So that should not happen if I'm opening an inbox of my mail and I find my mails have got deleted. So no backup has been taken place. So that I do not want my from the service provider. Then we also expect service provider to communicate with the stakeholders. They should connect with the client on regular basis, and they should reassure him that we are adopting sufficient measures and your no loss of data should take place. For example, if you have got almost everyone has got the WhatsApp installed on his device, so you can keep on seeing the notification that keeps on coming from WhatsApp that your data is secure. Plus, whatever new feature they add, they keep on telling the information to the users. Almost everyone does it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. So you take any of the social media platform, they keep on connecting with the client almost on monthly or after few months, and they keep on assuring you the data is safe, and they keep on providing good value added services without any cost. Objective is again to restore normal operations so that the no loss of customer data is take place and the customer is not deprived of service. It should not happen that he's trying to log into a website of the e-commerce portal and he's not able to access the services being provided by the e-commerce site. So normal operation should be restored as quickly as possible, even after the cyber attack has taken place. And the organization should spend a lot of their time, money, energy on reviewing and improving their cyber disaster plans. So even so, let's say if the organization adopted 5 preventive measures, even if that attack has taken place, so it's a good early morning strategy for the organization that they can realize that yes, their preventive step was not good enough and they need to further enhance the security. So they need to maybe hire external experts who can guide them and mentor them on that what best practices can be adopted to improve the further security of the organization. So the reviewing and improving cycle should always remain on in any organization. It should not stop. Also, they need to adopt the client feedback and self-review measure. So client feedback equally important. They should always reach out to the client and see that is the client satisfied with the kind of services they are providing. Are there any software bug which he is feeling, or is there a slowdown in the operations which the client is experiencing? So customer interaction is a very important part of any e-commerce site or any of the web service provider or the internet service provider. They should always regularly interact with the client because then only they can improve the quality of service, what we call QoS parameters. If they always believe we are the best, then they will never take feedback. So client feedback is continuously required, and self-review measure need to be adopted by the organization on their own, so that they can come to know that where we went wrong, that we were struck by a cyber attack, and how we can improve. The so chief information security officer should keep on reassessing the security plans of his organization almost on monthly basis, because every now and then new attacks keep on emerging. So it cannot be happen that one side after strategy, same strategy works for all the attacks. It is virtually impossible. For every attack, to mitigate every attack, I need to redesign my own strategy so that my organization data remains foolproof and secure. Otherwise, the loss of data will happen and the credibility of the organization will go down. Now let's look for the crisis management plan. What should be the efficient plan and how I can improve the strategy of my organization to provide best of the cyber security services to its client. So it's a strategic framework and guides action to for prepare for what? For handling and mitigating the cyber attacks. Respond to what? If the attack has happened, how quickly I am able to recover back from the attack. Like we have seen many kind of attack: malware, phishing, zero-day exploits, denial of service, distributed denial of service. So if even if attack has taken place, my crisis management plan should be strong and resilient enough to respond to a given scenario and to make sure that even if the attack has happened, the customer data should not get breached out. It should not get leaked out. So data pilferage should be as low as possible. Then begin to coordinate recovery from a cyber incident. So coordination required not only among the multiple departments of the same organization, but among the multiple entities also, like multiple companies coordinating with each other to thwart the cyber attack. Also, they need to work closely with the government agencies. Like we've got a NTRO is there, we have got ISEA is there, Data Security Council of India, various NASCOM IT companies are there. So all these companies need to coordinate with each other to ensure that they keep on sharing the information about the various attacks that keep on happening. And they can design a single comprehensive strategy to make sure that they are being protected from the future cyber attacks that might happen. So it covers different type of cyber crisis, possible targets, related impact, action, and the responsibility of all the concerned stakeholders. So crisis management plan can be designed by a single organization in isolation, but it can work only when many organizations come together and design a single comprehensive strategy to thwart the cyber attacks. Because then only they can action, if they coordinate and collaborate their action, then only you can achieve the best results. For example, if the criminal is there, if he commits the crime in Delhi, he can go to UP, he can go to Gurgaon, he can go to Haryana, or he can go to any of the neighboring states. So unless and until the police or the organization of all these states coordinate with each other, the criminal will enjoy. So everyone has to make sure that all these organizations or the neighboring police states coordinate with each other to ensure that the criminal is caught for quickly as possible. Because if the criminal is not caught, then he will go and launch the other attack or the other incident in the neighboring state. So coordination is required among the different law enforcement agencies. So cyber incident response coordination among the state governments, corporates, critical information infrastructure organization to deal with the cyber crisis situation. So a lot of coordination is required among the private and the public sector undertakings, the corporates, the industries, the organization. Then only they can be efficient enough to detect and to prevent the future occurrence of the cyber attack. So single comprehensive plan has to be designed. It should be done at the national level, and CERT or NTRO does it. But then coordination is required among the multiple government, central and the state government organization also. Then only these attacks can be prevented. So what is the motive of this cyber crisis management plan? The motive of this CCMP is to provide government and the corporate organization with the policies and guidelines for viable handling of the cyber crisis that may adversely impact the government, business, and the citizen. So I will share some of the document on the group also. So we'll see many number of the organization have taken steps to come up with the policies and guidelines that what, how, and in what manner we should design the crisis management plans. So a lot of comprehensive policies and guidelines need to be designed, and it should not be one-time measure because in we know in computer science and IT industry things evolve very fast. So attackers and hackers are also very smart. They keep on coming up with the new strategies to launch new kind of the cyber attack. So we need to keep on improvising the existing policies and guidelines. Otherwise, the old policies will be stale, they will be obsolete, and we will not be able to come up with a comprehensive plan to launch the prevent the cyber attacks. Now let's look at some of the US cybersecurity crisis management plan, how they have defined it, because one of the best strategies worldwide that how to prevent the cybersecurity attacks. So it's a good strategy where they have come up with the 2023 crisis communication survey, where say only 49% of the US business currently have a formal cybersecurity management plan. So in spite of the good preventive measure taken by the governments, not all the companies collaborate, not all the companies cooperate, and neither they come up with their own cybersecurity crisis management plan. And that's one disturbing factor. So unless and until all the companies come up with their own plan first, and then they help the government, and they also take government tips and advices that what are the possible leak holes, how we can prevent it. So unless until that they are taken into account, the attacks are bound to happen. So this was a 2023 crisis management survey, only last year. So not much would have changed in the last 1 year. The 49% would have increased or rather decreased to, let's say, 45%. But so many number of the companies still do not have the good infrastructure plan that how we can uh, come up with a preventive measure to prevent the occurrence of the attack. So what should crisis plan should include? The crisis plan should include the procedure for containment, internal external communication, forensic analysis, because if certain attack has taken place from a device, maybe from a laptop or a computer, so I need to do a good forensic analysis of the particular device. that who are the users of that device? When was the device last used? I need to look into the log file being maintained in that particular device. When was the device last booted? When was the device last shut down? What are the various websites which are accessed from that particular device? How many number of time the device was rebooted in the last, let's say, multiple number of preceding 4, 4, 5, 6 days? uh, to what all persons the person has communicated to or talked to or shared the message. So we would go do a good cybersecurity forensic analysis by certain open source tool or the proprietary tools to reach up to that conclusion. Then compliance reporting, damage assessment, that if the attack has taken place, what kind of data or how much amount of data has been compromised, that I need to assess. Then what are the lessons that has been learned, that it should not happen against the future threat, because in our computer science and IT industry, learning has to be very fast. So once your data is stolen, has been stolen, and you have come to know that you have been bugged or your data has been stolen, it should not happen again. So you need to review and re-strategize your cybersecurity crisis management plan. If you don't do it, the attacker will keep on attacking your data, and your data will keep on getting stolen to the outside network. Then there's another called Geneva Center for Security Sector Governance, where a large number of organizations and the companies and the governments, they have come together that to design a comprehensive security sector governance plan. So again, this I will share with you. This is last year's developing a cyber security crisis management plan, designed and developed by Tadeusz Jackstraus in May 2023 only, where it talks about the detailed strategies that need to be adopted by a large number of countries around the world if they're really serious and sincere to prevent the cyber security attack. So this was a management plan designed and developed by him. And now, if you scroll this through this document, he very beautifully described that what is a national cyber crisis management plan? What should be the aim of any government when they're trying to design the crisis management plan? So what it says, it can be defined as follows: a strategic framework which articulates the roles and responsibilities, capabilities, and coordinating structure that supports how a nation responds to and recovers from a significant cyber incident that pose risk to a critical infrastructure. So good comprehensive strategy need to be designed by that particular government so that no threats are there to a critical cyber infrastructure. Now, critical infrastructure, as we discussed earlier, it could be airports, seaports, power management companies, electrical distribution companies, water supply, hospitals. They all fall part of the critical infrastructure. So these attackers, hackers, intruders, they keep on looking for the loopholes in these companies, and they keep on not only looking on for loopholes, they keep on designing their own attack plan, and then when they launch the attack to decipher the data, to steal the data, to manipulate the data, or maybe just to sell off the data to the other hackers who will use it to a larger extent. So this plan also recommends and elaborates on the action and responsibilities. So this also elaborate on the action responsibility for a coordinated multidisciplinary approach that responds to and recover from nationally significant cyber incident. So multidisciplinary approach is required. You can't have a one size fits all kind of a situation. You can't design one plan which can thwart all the kind of the active and passive attack. Multidisciplinary approach is required so that I can design a comprehensive strategy to make sure the multiple attacks do not happen together. Now, what is the purpose of designing this cyber crisis management plan? First of all, establish role and responsibility of all the stakeholders. Now, here stakeholder means the government, because this is Geneva Convention Center plan, so they are directly communicating to the government that this government should ask the companies operating there in the law of land that they should define the roles and responsibilities of this company, that how they should react during a crisis situation. They should devise a way to resolve incidents because incidents are bound to happen. So how do I resolve these kind of the cyber threats or cyber attacks that usually arises? Ensure proper information among the different stakeholders. So they keep on sharing the data with your customers. Means keep on advising them. Keep on alerting them, keep on sensitizing them that they should adopt best practices so that the data doesn't get stolen out. So these companies hold the responsibility that they should take the responsibility to keep on alerting the customer, because customer is a normal person. He is not having a knowledge of cyber security. So this, it all depends upon the company concerned that they keep on sensitizing the customer about the aims and objective of cyber security. Then setting the effective communication channel for message passing related to the incident. So if certain incident has happened, don't hide it. Let the government know it, let the other companies know it, let the customer know it that certain thing has happened, so that they can be better prepared so that it doesn't happen next time. So what is the let's look at the some of the example of formulated objective. The objective of the cybersecurity management plan is to set out procedure for cyber incident management while defining a cyber incident categories, cyber incident information, cyber incident investigation, and cyber incident analysis after cyber incident investigation is over. Now, what does it mean? Cyber incidents are bound to happen, cyber attacks are bound to happen. But how do you classify them? How do you categorize them? How do you design your own strategy to mitigate them? So this was designed by the Republic of Lithuania, but then now it's whole applicable to almost all the government organizations. So it's a good strategy they have designed. And again, it depends upon the government that how they come up with their own crisis management plan to make sure that the customer data doesn't get lost. And even if it get lost, it should not get into the hands of the enemies, because they might use it for certain malicious purposes. So since it is a Cisco limited timeout session, so I'm stopping the meeting and I will restart it again after a few minutes.